Hello everyone, how are you? So, let's start. So, in our second part of chapter 15, Dr. Manette will continue his story and will tell us what happened to the boy and his sister. So, what led to all of this trouble? So, he will tell us that Charles' father and his twin brother were very evil and caused a lot of trouble to them. Them here for the sister and her brother. And he will say also that he sent the letter to the king's court to denounce him with what had happened, but later there were two brothers who came and took him for Dr. Manette to the prison of the Bastille. So, from this part, we know that who put Dr. Manette for all of these years in the prison were the brother and the father of of Charles, okay? And then after the president read the letter, the jury of the court voted against Charles to be dead by the guillotine. Okay? So let's start reading page by page. Okay, I want you to read this part, please. So I have here some new words for you, which is stroke means hit, and harnessed means used, to use something, okay? And tenant here, it's like roomer, the person who take a room, for example, and he pays some money for the owner of the room, okay? And sobbed here means to cry noisily, noisily. Okay, so my first question for you here, what did the boy say about these two men? Okay, actually he just said that these two noblemen were all tenant, okay, and almost slaves. They taxed us and forced us to work without pay, took our crops for their animals, and barely fed us enough to keep us alive, but even worse, they took our young women for their own pleasure. So I read for you the part in the story, but if you want to write it in your own words, it's okay, it's all okay. The most important thing that I want you to deliver your ideas, and that's it. Okay, the second question, this is for question number 1, okay? Okay, question number 2. How did his sister's husband die? So, right after my sister got married, that man's twin brother ordered her husband to give her to him for a while, but my sister refused to go with him, and her husband refused to persuade her to do so. So that nobleman harnessed her husband to a cart like an animal. So he used her husband instead of animal to move the cart, okay, and drove him over the state day after day, beating him to keep him moving. When he was finally taken out of the harness one day at noon to look for something to eat, he sobbed 12 times. So he just cried 12 times. One for every stroke of the belt, because this bad person just used the belt to hit him. Then collapsed and died in my sister's arms. And this what happened to him. Okay, so I want you to read this part. Okay, read this, please. And let's see what question do we have here. Here I have only one question for you. So my question for you here, what did the boy do before he died? Or how did he die? So the dying boy put his hand on his wound and with his bloody forefinger drew a cross in the air. Then the finger dropped and the boy slept forever. And now let's look at the next page. Read it please first, and then let's start working on the questions. So my first question here, who came to Dr. Manat after he finished his letter? Who came? Who came to Dr. Manat after he finished his letter? This is the letter that he wanted to speak with the court about what happened to the young boy and his sister. Okay, so we will see that a young, beautiful lady, and this was Charles' mother, and the baby or the child here or the little boy here was Charles. Okay, and she wanted to just speak with Dr. Manat about the family, that her husband was evil to them, so she wanted to help him to help these people. So she wanted him to help her. If she give them money, maybe this will just make it easy for her husband and his family, because the people in France were very, very angry with him and with the family in general. Okay, and we will see this. So why did the woman want to help the girl? Because she felt pity for the dead girl and not only wanted to help her family, but also turn the anger of heaven away from Evermont family, which was hated by the people of France. Okay, so this will be the answer. Okay, so the next question, another question was why? Why didn't he tell her about the girl's address? And the answer will be, he didn't tell her the girl's address because the wounded boy never revealed it before he died. So if he didn't reveal it before he died, so he didn't want anyone to know about her address, so they will not do anything wrong with her. Okay, I want you to read this part, please. Here, the word moon here means cold. And black muffler here means a scarf. They use the scarf to just to bond him or bend him and his arms. So now, who was the little boy? As I told you, the little Charles. This was Charles Evermont. what happened to him after he delivered the letter. So after Dr. Manette just delivered the letter that he was writing before the woman comes to him, so there were two men that comes to him, and they took him and they bent him with a scarf, as I told you, and they took him to the Bastille and drop him in the prison. Okay, so you can read from here this part I told you about. Okay, so let's complete. Until here also. Okay, so read this part please. Arouse here means appear, okay? Alright. So, what will happen to Charles? So, after the court president just read this letter and read what Dr. Manette wrote while he was in the prison. So, what will happen to him after he read this letter? The vote of the jury was as solidly against Charles Darnay as it had been in his favor last time. This by the guillotine in 24 hours. So they will send him to death. And this will be the end of our chapter 15. And see you in chapter 16 inshallah. Bye.